you could not play it on the radio today. And so for those who are like clutching their pearls about WAP, I'm like, who's the other woman? Not Billy Carter, but oh my God, it's going to come to me. But there was a woman who also was known for, let's just say, some pretty raunchy kind of lyrics, and it was R&B.
That was R&B?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I mean,
it'll come
a West Coast thing. Was this a West Coast thing?
Oh God, no. Millie, was it Millie? Come on, somebody help us. Our demographic should know this answer right away. Like, oh, who you talking about? So anyway, folks, so you know who's just going on and on this morning. This is the Power Hour, brought to you by Power, an interfaith organization dedicated to social justice in our community. And sitting across from me this morning is Bishop Dwayne Royster, affectionately called Royster.
Yes, and sitting across from me is Mark Kelly Tyler. And we should say to you, congratulations, sir, on the nuptials of your eldest daughter this past weekend. Congratulations.
That's right. Yes, I went to Virginia for a wedding, and it was a great time. And congratulations to Nishan and to Christian on their nuptials. And I'll share some reflections on mask wearing in Virginia. Oh, just some asides that happened. I mean, like literally some things I heard on the radio. An interesting discussion I observed with two strangers in Wawa. They got Wawa in Richmond, Virginia, bro.
Yes, that's good. Wawa. That's good.
Yeah.
Can we get Wawa in other areas in Philadelphia outside of Chestnut Hill and Center City? I'm just curious.
Well, I'm just so.
Oh, and yeah, Chestnut Hill and Center City. That's it. Yeah.
So they got Wawa there, but I won't. If we have time today, I'll come back to that because we have so much really important news to cover. And Leslie, thank you for letting me know it was Millie Jackson.
Millie Jackson, she has some. I remember Millie Jackson. I remember her lyrics being that raunchy.
Oh man, let me tell you, you I don't know. Your parents did a good job, obviously, then at sheltering you from like Blowfly and Millie Jackson. Unfortunately, I found those albums all too easy.
So
have a conversation with my mother.
When my dad came back from Vietnam, we were listening to Peter, Paul, and Mary and Buffy St. Marie, and I don't know what happened when he went to Nam, but he came back listening to folk music. So I grew up on some of that.
Well, I tell you, like I said again, my mom made it a little too easy for me to find some of those albums. And but listen, a lot to cover on today. We don't have any guests scheduled because of the fact that the conversation needs to be pretty wide-ranging. And if you would like to be in on this conversation today, we're going to get you in starting on the second segment, if that's all right with you, so we can lay some things out. But we'll give that phone number out on the other side of the break. But we do want to hear from you. You can listen to This Morning at WURDradio.com. You can also download the app in the App Store, WURD. Look for that, and it'll take you right to it in your favorite app store. You can listen on the radio. I know, a radio program with an actual station, 900 AM, 96.1 FM. And so, again, happy to have you in this conversation. Follow the station on Twitter at onWURD, onWURD. Follow us on Twitter. You can follow Bishop Royster at DD Royster. You can follow me at Mark Kelly Tyler. And no, I'm not running for the Senate in Arizona. I keep getting tweets.
Are you really?
I got another one this morning. Somebody tagged me in like, hey, when you get in the Senate, I've been getting them for like a year. It's intensified now. It's like mine apparently pops up, Mark Kelly Tyler, but soon to be Arizona Senator Mark Kelly, who has a wide lead there. I don't really want your tweets, and I don't want your headaches, and I'm sure you don't want mine.
I think it would be very interesting to see you as a senator, U.S. senator. I think that would be a really good role.
Oh, God.
It would be very powerful. I would get a kick out of that personally.
Yeah, I'm sure you would. You and other people. So, listen, we need to open this up this morning and talk about what's going on in the world around us. Obviously, very stunning news Friday night with the passing of Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. And first of all, prayers for her and her family. She tried to hang in there as long as she could. There's a lot of debate now about should she have come out when Obama was trying to get her to come out so he could appoint a replacement, given her, her recent bouts with cancer in the past. But she decided to stay in there. Now, it's going to be, again, interesting to see what ultimately happens here. But typically in these moments, the politics kind of wait in a respectful period of time, days, maybe a week for the person to be buried. There's chatter in the background about what's going to happen. President Trump did not wait for the body to be cold. I mean, I saw a news alert that said Ruth Bader Ginsburg has passed. I saw another news alert almost instantly that said, oh, I'm going to nominate somebody soon.
Yes.
Before the debate.
Yes.
So before we get into kind of the politics of it, what are your own kind of reflections about who the person who's been dubbed the notorious RBG because of her initials? Because even within kind of the Black progressive space, there seems to be some debate about should we celebrate her or tear her down?
Well, I mean, here's a couple different things, right? So especially for women, in many ways, she has been an icon, right? White, Black, or Latinx, or API, Indigenous. She fought a lot of battles for women to be able to be respected and to be able to be seen, and had to, even Mitch McConnell, of all people, actually acknowledged all the challenges that she had to face to be able to get her way into the Supreme Court. Now, look, I mean, for progressive folk, for Black folk, right, we know that the justice system is discriminatory and oppressive to our folk. However, if you go back and take a look at some of the dissents that Justice Ginsburg has written over the years that she has served as an associate justice on the Supreme Court, you will discover that 9 times out of 10, she is siding often with progressive values and progressive ideas, and really pushing the court to move towards a more progressive bent. I think if there ever was an ally for many of the issues that we care deeply about, it was Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Now, I know folk feel some kind of way about that. I know that there are folk talking about doing memorial services and things like that, and people are, taking offense to that. I'm like, look, in an age of chaos, which is basically what we're in right now, Ruth Bader Ginsburg was a voice of reason and sense and hope, and that voice has been silenced by the cold hand of death. And so now we are thrust into a deeper level of chaos, missing her presence at this moment in time. And I think people are hurting because they just know that this moment is just getting more chaotic as we go along. I know I was talking to my wife and my daughter, my youngest daughter, who's a senior in high school, and they were both pretty devastated by the news. I remember when my wife came in and told me I was reading a book, preparing for a sermon next day, and I just had to stop for a minute. And I was like, "Oh man, could 2020 get any worse?" So anyway,
yeah. Well, all right. So thank you. And so I ditto on that. But so Bernita on Facebook Live is raising the question, and thank you as well for sharing the video, Bernita. So she didn't hear the part about people tearing her down, especially progressive kind of farther left folk within kind of the woke community. And like I said before, as I kind of went on my rant on Friday with this new word I'm dubbing the neo-woke, right?
Neo-woke, yes.
Yeah,
yes.
Neo-woke folk who are the wokiest of all the wokiest people, who are so woke that you will actually do things against your own good to prove how woke you are. It's kind of like I know that I should vote for this person, but I'm going to show you just how woke I am by not voting for that person, and I'm going to stand on principle and then suffer another 4 to 8 years. And in this case, with Supreme Court justices, I may suffer 30 years.
Right.
She was on the court. Yeah, she was on the court 27 years. And if you kind of look at the names that are being batted around right now, these folk are young and healthy, and likewise can give a good 25, 30 years. And so, Bernita, a part of what I'm getting at is, like, for example, when I put out, rest in power, we'll continue your fight. Primarily, I'm talking about the fight right now that she was engaged in, which was she was wholly committed to stop Donald Trump from making an appointment of her seat. And I'm like, I'm with you on that. Let's finish it. People are digging up the fact that she criticized very harshly Colin Kaepernick's taking a knee 4 years ago. And she was interviewed, I think, by Katie Couric at the time, said some things off the cuff without knowing the facts, called it stupid, called it dumb. And so people are digging that up and posting it all over the place. Now, what they are not posting, and this is what I don't appreciate about intellectual dishonesty, that if you're going to post that, then you need to post that almost the next day, if not sooner, after understanding the facts, sitting down with her team and learning what he was protesting about, saying that, okay, while I may not agree with kneeling on the flag, I was out of pocket, I was wrong. I sincerely apologize to Colin Kaepernick as a judge, as a person. I should have never said what I did. Now, again, if you're going to talk about what someone said, then talk about everything that they said or what they did. And so, but again, that's not coming from the right. That's coming from the far left. And we have this tendency to circle the wagons and engage in friendly fire. So a person has not done everything we want. We throw everything else out. We forget she was a tireless, dependable vote on civil rights issues for Black folk for 27 years. Yep. She was a tireless, consistent vote for the issue of women and women's rights. I've got 3 daughters. I've got a wife, I've got a mom, I've got a sister and sister-in-law, folk who are deeply invested in equal pay. So you can't just throw everything out. I mean, come on, cancel culture. Y'all got to, could you imagine, this is what I was thinking. World War II, here's, FDR, Churchill, Stalin, getting ready to plan D-Day. And they're like, nah, I don't want to plan D-Day with you because you talked about me because we didn't get in the war fast enough. I want to go rehash that. Forget Nazi Germany. I know that's the greatest threat, but right now I'm so pissed at what you said, I can't go forward. I mean, that's how foolish we sound at times. We have an existential threat in front of us, and we have less than 50 days to do something about it. Don't tear down people who are on the same page with you about that.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we need a pragmatic progressivism, right? So, I mean, when you define the far left, that is probably me. I am probably far left of you, left of center on many issues. And yet there has to be a notion. It's like, people that you talk about the neo-woke, and I appreciate that. I think that there is a deep issue we have in this moment that we are fighting amongst ourselves. Can we get a new president in office and then fight with that president to get what we want? I mean, we should be making demands now, no doubt about it. But then can we get a new Senate? Can we get a new Congress? And then go in there and continue to engage in democracy, reclaim democracy is really what I'm calling us for, and actually be our own public advocates in the public square fighting for the issues that we think need to be addressed in this country. It is not sufficient. Ruth Bader Ginsburg, she might have made that mistake with Colin Kaepernick, unlike others who later on, like the whole NFL, who many of those same people are still watching, who denied him in a very big way. Yes, she made that mistake in that one moment, but she has a legacy of fighting battles for folk that look like you and me. She was a close ally of Thurgood Marshall's on the court, and they worked very well together for many years fighting for civil rights and trying to make the world a better place for folk that struggle deeply. And I'm at a point where I'm deeply frustrated because it's not enough to have to battle both the conservatives and the progressives simultaneously. And I'm in that progressive camp. And I'm like, look, folk, y'all need to get out and vote. You need to do your thing, do your duty, and then let us do what we are conditioned to do, which is fight the righteous battles that need to happen with an administration that we can actually get something done with.
Yeah, I mean, so speaking of politicians, while we're debating on one side, the Republicans know what they're going to do. Now, in spite of what they did 4 years ago, this is the political repercussion of her passing. In spite of 4 years ago, 9 months and some days with the passing of Justice Alito. Was it Alito?
Scalia.
I think so. Yeah.
Scalia.
Oh, thank you, Scalia. I don't think Alito. I'm sorry. Don't want to put that out there. Yeah, thank you. So with the passing of Anthony Scalia, and now 9 months is forever in D.C. The primary had just started. The Republicans held their ground and said, nope, we're in an election season, not going to do it. And so this is what Lindsey Graham said in the past, and we'll talk about what he said in the present in a moment. Go right ahead, Quasa.
This will stand the test of the time. This is the last year of a lame duck president, and if Ted Cruz or Donald Trump get to be president, they've all asked us not to confirm or take up a selection by President Obama. So if a vacancy occurs in their last year of their first term, guess what? You will use their words against them. I want you to use my words against me. If there's a Republican president in 2016 and a vacancy occurs in the last year of the first term, you can say, Lindsey Graham said, let's let the next president, whoever it might be, make that nomination, and you could use my words against me, and you'd be absolutely right. We're setting a precedent here today. Republicans are.
That's all we need. That's all we need, Quasa. That's it. He said we could use his words against him. Well, sir, right now you are in a tough fight in South Carolina against a black candidate. I mean, first of all, how strange is it that South Carolina may be the first state ever to have two black senators at the same time?
Well,
you know, obviously one is pretty terrible.
I'm going to leave that alone.
Obviously one is pretty terrible. I mean, Tim Scott, you got a question. He's kind of like he's black, he is, but he kind of thinks more along the lines of Clarence Thomas, at least politically.
Yes.
And I'm not going to say that's not black because I don't agree with it. I'm just saying he's a different kind of black guy from the majority. 90% of black folk, at least the way elections go, disagree with the way they think.
Yeah.
So he's kind of a niche. He's in a niche.
Yeah.
But there may be two black senators in South Carolina.
That would be interesting. Right.
And so Lindsey Graham is in a tough fight right now with Jamie Harrison. And I got to imagine that now, given what we just heard him say, you can hold my words against me. And now coming out firmly saying over the weekend that if President Trump nominates someone, I will vote for him. I'll pull the quote in a minute, read it to you, his exact words, that while that may work to help President Trump get what he wants, if I am Jamie Harrison's campaign right now, I am in the editing room, and whatever commercials we had, they are all gone. Throw them all out and run this one repeatedly. Hold my words against me and put the brand new quote in. We already knew Lindsey Graham was a liar, according to the campaign. And so let us just run the tape. He cannot keep his word.
It's not going to mean anything. It's not going to mean anything.
I don't know.
Look, we have to go to break. Let's continue this conversation because I need to break down. There are some Republican senators that are potentially going to defect, and so we should talk about that, although I'm not sure they actually will. But let's take our first break. You're listening to the Power Hour of Mark Kelly Tyler and Dwayne Royster. We'll be right back.
It's Royster.
Right back.
We've all adjusted our daily routines in these unprecedented times. And for many of us, voting at our polling place in November is a routine that means so much. But did you know that every Pennsylvania voter can vote by mail from home this year? Whether you're a Pennsylvania senior, essential worker, or simply someone who needs more flexibility to vote within a challenging schedule, voting by mail allows you to make your voice heard at the ballot box on your schedule while protecting your family's health. You can turn your mailbox into a ballot box by simply visiting votespa.com on your computer or any mobile device to request your mail-in ballot. With November 3rd around the corner, it's more important than ever to request your mail-in ballot today. It's simple, secure, convenient, and safe. This year, you shouldn't have to choose between your vote and your health. We're all in this together, and voting by mail gives you the power to make your voice heard. So sign up at votespa.com or return your mail-in ballot application to your county election office today. Paid for by Power Interfaith.
2020 is the year of voter options. We have many different ways to exercise one of the most important activities in our lifetime. Some of us might be voting by mail, but the rest of us can still vote safely while masked up and social distancing in person at your local polling locations. If you're in Philadelphia, learn more about where your polling location might be at either votespa.com or philadelphiavotes.com. For more information on how to vote in Pennsylvania, visit states.aarp.org/Pennsylvania. Vote early. Enterprise Exterminators, located 4943 Wayne Avenue, specializing in lantern flies, termites, bed bugs, fleas, mice, and roaches. Do-it-yourself kits are available. Call now, 215-849-7070.
Livelihood, the new initiative from Word Radio, connecting Philadelphians to jobs, entrepreneurship opportunities, small business resources, and financial literacy. Visit WURDworks.com right now and take the next step in your professional journey.
Work, 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 work. You send me heavy work.
Livelihood is supported by the Nightland Fest's Local News Transformation Fund, Borealis Philanthropies Racial Equity and Journalism Fund, and the Solutions Journalism Network. Now, a traffic update on Word Radio.
Good morning. Not too bad as you make your way here in Philadelphia. So far this Monday morning, 95 southbound, not bad yet through the construction. Coming down through Bridge. Northbound looks good. Vine Expressway westbound, late heading into 76, not bad at all. Schuylkill Expressway westbound between University Avenue and 30th Street. A little slow there already. Left lane blocked with that construction zone. Further west, no other problems. Eastbound side looks good. PA Turnpike and the Blue Route 476, no major issues there. In New Jersey, 42, 55, 295. All off to a nice quiet start so far. For more traffic information, log on to sigalert.com. Jim Bachman with your Philadelphia area traffic.
You're listening to Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, independent black media.
Welcome back to the Power Hour with Mark Kelly Tyler and Dwayne David Royster. Just going to get that out there. So, hey, we were just talking about the passing of the Associate Justice of the Supreme Court, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who also known as the notorious RBG. And we're switching our conversation into the fact that we expect Donald Trump is going to make an announcement this week. He's already announced that he will nominate a woman to fill the role. There's been a short list that has been posted that people are taking a look at. But there is a question about whether he has the votes to get this through the Senate. There's an ongoing debate. Now, let me just jump in. I want to jump in here to start with this, right? So Lisa Murkowski of Alaska has said that there should not be any vote on a new candidate until after the election, although she is open to starting the vetting process. Susan Collins, who's in a very tight race in Maine, who often has touted her moderate Republican credentials, also is in deep trouble because every time she has done that, she said that she was going to do something, and then she sided with Trump, and now her state is coming after her for that. There's a question about what Mitt Romney in Utah is going to do and whether Mitt Romney is going to support this. The three of them were the three that voted with the Democrats to get testimony during the impeachment trial in the Senate. So we know that there are some there, and there's a couple others. So Lamar Alexander in Tennessee is retiring, and so there's a question about whether he would do this, although some people have speculated already that he said he would support Donald Trump. And then there's Cory Gardner in Colorado, who's up for re-election, and he's kind of in a space where he actually needs some Democratic votes in Colorado to keep his seat because Colorado is continuing to lean left because, let's face it, Colorado was one of the first places you could get high legally. So you have to so he's in a situation. You only need 4 Republican senators to switch to the other side as long as all the Democrats and the independents stay aligned with one another. So it could prevent a vote. But the issue is Collins and Murkowski have not ruled out a lame duck appointment, which could be just as problematic. They're just saying they don't want to do it before the election because they don't want to ruin their own chances to get reelected to office.
Well, listen, and then add to this that Mark Kelly, should he be elected, because he's filling out, whoever wins is filling out late Senator McCain's seat, would actually take, well, almost immediately. He can go in, I think, as early as November 30th, or maybe as late as November 30th. But yeah, so to your point, he'd be in a lot sooner than January with the rest of the newly elected senators. So that adds to some of the political drama as well. Now, Donald Trump is clearly, rolling the dice on this and kind of betting, this is that moment in Vegas where somebody pushes all the chips to the center of the table. You had a bad night, and it's, it can go either way. And so people are saying, well, he's going to give his base what they want. And in some ways I will agree that it's a no-lose situation for him, right? So if he gets the nomination, great. You know, he's going to probably lose the election anyway. He knows that. If he doesn't get it and somehow he's politically outmaneuvered, he could then look and say, look, to his base, here's a new reason for you to come out and turn out because they denied you this seat. So I think that for him, it's not really risky. I don't really blame him for it. You know, he didn't make a promise not to do this. The Senate, on the other hand, is a different question. So do you take firmer control of the Supreme Court, which, by the way, you know, let's talk about the culture of the Supreme Court. Things change once they get in there. I mean, John Roberts has not been the always predictable vote that a George Bush thought he would be, right? I mean, he has surprised the GOP. And there's kind of a culture in there where they get in and they sometimes do their own thing. The Senate, on the other hand, is much more predictable. There's a way that you keep people in line. So do you risk losing the Senate, which is very possible as a result of this, and getting run out of the White House and a deeper hole in the House?
Yeah.
Or do you kind of pull back and say, look, man, all money ain't good money? Right. I don't know. I mean, you know, it's in the Senate's hand. Trump is doing what he was elected to do. I don't like him, but I don't fault him for this. The Senate, on the other hand, has to bear with this. Listen, if you want to get in the conversation, see folk out there like Anton and Kasahu, Donna and Asa Khalif and Jesse and others who are just going at it. Raphael said, if you get 2 black senators in South Carolina and 1 in Georgia, he said, all you black folk need to move back down to the South from the North and get your land back. I heard that, Raphael. Glad to see all of you all. But if you want to get in the conversation, really, give us a call. 215-634-8065, 215-634-8065. If you're out of the area like Yolanda down in Texas, you can call us at 866 for free, 866-361-0900. So, I mean, I
want to push you on something. I just want to push you on something you said.
Sure.
So you said John Roberts has not been a consistent conservative vote. Actually, I would disagree with you on that.
I said not all. I didn't say, you put words in my mouth.
What did you say then?
I did not say he has not been a consistent conservative vote. I said he's just not always been what they thought he would be.
So there's been some studies about John Roberts, right? Okay. And they said he's a constitutionalist. So a lot of times the Trump administration has brought things to the U.S. Supreme Court that he has sided with the liberals, not because he agreed with the liberals, but because he wants deeper case law to be brought to the table. So basically, there's things that people have brought to the table that Roberts has basically sided with the liberals, not because he agreed with them, but because he wanted them to make a deeper case and has challenged the administration to make a deeper case on some of its issues. Not that he totally disagrees with them on that, but I also think that John Roberts is actually a real conservative and not a Trump Republican, and there are two different things. There are conservatives out there who are not Trump Republicans, who actually hold to the ideas of the Republican Party, of small government, and really in many ways sometimes libertarian ideas. I think that's who John Roberts is. I think Kavanaugh and what's the other one that got on the court? Gorsuch are Trump Republicans, or Trumpers. I don't even call them Trump Republicans. They don't even reflect the Republican Party. I think they're Trumpers, and that's something very different than what the Republicans actually are, my estimation.
Gotcha. All right. Well, and I'm sorry to Yolanda. She's not in Texas. She said that's her brother. We all grew up together in Oakland. She's in Mississippi. Big difference, kind of. I guess from a black perspective, is it really a difference?
Yeah.
I don't know, but she could tell us. Hey, listen. All right. So on the same line of thinking, right? There is something about this moment that continues to bring us back to the election, to the general election, right? And so I find it fascinating right now, especially given the fact that Ruth Bader Ginsburg was kind of like the ultimate feminist and was unashamed about that, right? And she wrote some scathing dissents on behalf of women in her role as a justice. So it's making me think about, for some reason, this whole conversation around the Latino vote right now.
Okay.
And I know it's kind of maybe a leap and a stretch, but just follow me for a second. So right now, the Latino vote, surprisingly, with a president who started his campaign off going after a group of Latinos, Mexicans, calling them rapists, and built his campaign on it. You know, kind of laid his biggest chant, other than lock her up, was build the wall, keeping South American country persons out of the United States, blaming them for the lack of American jobs and everything else, the high crime rate, MS-13, on and on and on and on and on. There's no group that he has gone after more than Latin America or the Latin, people.
Sure. Now,
that said, it's still shocking that he enjoys 25% support from Latinos in America. And it kind of, so I was sharing this with you yesterday. We were talking, kind of getting ready for the show. And one of the things that occurs to me is that as black folk, I don't think we give ourselves enough credit.
Mm-hmm.
That we beat ourselves up because we don't agree on things 100% of the time, all the time. And I mean, I'm guilty of it too. But I think one of the things we need to really celebrate, especially given the many ways that it has been difficult historically for us to get together, when it comes to voting nationally, no other group can lay claim about the way in which we come together, where we're over 90% together on national campaigns, especially around electing a president. When we had an opportunity to get a black president truly, actually on the ticket, black folk turned out in humongous numbers and
Big numbers.
together.
Yes.
But when you look back and you think about like all these other groups, so Latino Americans haven't even had a person nominated, VP or president. You haven't even crossed that threshold yet. You think about women. Women have had 3 opportunities to get either a president or a vice president. Geraldine Ferraro, Sarah Palin, Hillary Clinton, and women just kind of, they couldn't come together to make that decision. And so other issues overrode their desire of having a first woman in that position. The LGBTQ community could not rally around, Mayor Pete. Tremendous opportunity, young guy, who had an opportunity. But even within that, that voting block, there was so much division that he could not garner the kind of support. And once again, we have another black woman, a black person, I should say. And Raphael, I don't want to hear today. We don't have enough time. She is black for the purposes of this moment right now and always. But you see the way that the D9 is coming for her to support the black fraternity sororities, black HBCU community, black women, black men, that folk are behind Kamala Harris in a way that others have not enjoyed. And so while we have a lot to be critical about, black folk, since this is Black Talk Media, I think that we ought to step back and celebrate the fact that when we have had opportunities, we have taken advantage in ways that, as I think about it, a lot of other groups have failed to do.
Well, let me just say this. I want to take one of the union chants and turn it into a black chant, right? When we vote, we win, right? And that in actually many cases, black folk are often the margin of error, or the margin of victory for a candidate. If you think about this for a minute, Donald Trump won Pennsylvania by 44,000 votes. If you look at the amount of black folk in Philadelphia that did not vote, did not cast their ballot that election, if black folk had voted, just another 10% of black folk had voted in Philadelphia, we would have had a different turnout in the Pennsylvania election in 2016, right? If you take a look at the undercount in Detroit, and if black folk had voted at higher level in Detroit, it would have had a different turnout. Same thing in Milwaukee. If black folk had turned out in a different way in Milwaukee, we would have had a different turnout in Wisconsin, right? So the thing about it is, whether we realize it or not, I think a lot of times we don't realize the actual power that we have, and that our ability to actually be able to move things becomes important. So we had an incredibly high turnout during the Obama years. We did not have a high turnout during the Trump-Clinton election. And as a result of that, we lost some momentum in ability to be able to control election. That's why this particular cycle, people realize the power of black vote and the power of the unity of the black vote. That's why there's a Kamala Harris that is the VP nominee, right? Otherwise, it probably would have been Elizabeth Warren that would have been the VP nominee. But the politicians, the political strategists know we better take care of this black base, because this black base will eventually turn on us if we don't start acting right. And they showed us what happens when we don't treat them right and respect them. They don't show up. So, yes, we should celebrate our power. And not only should we celebrate our power, we should actually take advantage of every aspect of the power.
We should use it. I mean, look.
That's why it's called the Power Hour. Let's take advantage of it.
Look, you cannot. Look, Joe Biden ought to get up in the morning, and he is a devout Catholic. So after you say your prayers and thank God for what God has done for you, giving you another day, and whatever, however your prayer goes, for a roof over your head, food on your table, thank God for your family. In the next breath, you ought to thank God for James Clyburn. Thank God for black people in South Carolina, because your political lifeline has not come by the hands of anybody else, my friend, other than black folk. And so it is how we wield it. And that's why I'm saying, and that's why I wanted to bring it up, because it is important that we understand that we have something that is unique, because even what you just said is true. So the numbers may have gone down from the Obama years, but the coalition and the percentages of how we have voted has not changed.
Right.
So we're hitting 92%. And you talk about black women, come on, bro.
90, I think it's 98% black women.
I mean, come on, black women are like, we suffer no fools. We don't waste votes.
Follow the black women. That's what they say, right? That's the move.
Right.
Follow the black women.
I mean, look, here's Audrey says on Facebook Live, reminds us, the black vote put Doug Jones in office in Alabama, U.S. Senator. So he too, like Obama, after you thank your God, thank black women in Alabama for opening the door for you. And so let us focus on some of the good that we have. And when we come back after this next break, maybe we could talk a little bit about that and what we ought to do in going forward, and how we wield that kind of power, because that is real power. This is the Power Hour, sitting here today with Bishop Dwayne Royster and myself, Mark Kelly Tyler, and with you. If you want to get in, you got a little bit of time. We're going to take your call on today. Give us a call, 215-634. Did I get that right this time?
634.
Yeah, I did. 634. I'm trying to remember it. Yeah. You know, no, I don't remember numbers anymore. It's all in my phone. 634-8065 or 361-0900. And that one is toll free at 866. We'll be right back.
Keystone First VIP Choice HMO SNP Dual Eligible Special Needs Plan has a 4 out of 5 star rating and is one of the highest rated Medicare plans in the region. Keystone First VIP Choice and you are better together. If you live in Philadelphia, Bucks, Chester, Montgomery, or Delaware County, and you have both Medicare and Medicaid, choose the Medicare plan that is working to help you get better care. Enjoy extra benefits at no cost to you with Keystone First VIP Choice. You get benefits like dental, vision, and transportation to and from your medical appointments. They also cover a fitness membership to a gym of your choice. $150 toward over-the-counter pharmacy items. There's no copay for doctor's visits. They offer a large provider network, a great prescription plan, dental coverage, and even eyeglasses. Plus, you don't have to wait for open enrollment. You can change your coverage every quarter. Keystone First VIP Choice. The name you trust, the service you deserve. Call Keystone First VIP Choice today at 1-877-686-1760 or visit KeystoneFirstVIPChoice.com.
Be heard. Want another way to join the conversation?
Follow us on social media
using the hashtag onWURD.
Be heard.
Stay connected to Word Radio.
Independent Black Media.
At PICO, we know one thing is certain. Times have changed. From kitchen classrooms to couch conference calls, searching for a new job, or new ways to keep your family connected. These changes have become a part of our reality. That's why our teams are working 24/7 to meet the needs of our communities. So no matter how much things change, you can depend on PICO to be there with the energy and help you need to power through. Learn more at pico.com.
This is not a fad for us.
We will not resume our regular programming when things die down. We're not black to help our bottom line or because it's politically correct. We're not joining a fight. This has been our fight, our message, our people. Black lives have always mattered here. We are
undeniably,
indefatigably, unapologetically, permanently Black Talk Media.
WURD.
Now, a traffic update
on Word Radio.
Good morning. This report sponsored by Staples Stores. Getting busy on the Schuylkill Expressway westbound. You're going to find delays I Heavy University through 30th. Construction there in left lane blocked further west. No other problems at eastbound side also. in pretty good shape. Westbound Vine Lake Parkway through the Schuylkill Expressway. Southbound 95, first busy coming down through Bridge through that work zone. Then you're heavy from Bridge through Betsy Ross. A disabled vehicle there again right at the end of that construction zone. Northbound side, no major problems. In New Jersey, 42, 55, 295, all looking good. Staples helps your business from office essentials to help essentials, all at amazing prices. This week at $15 off posters or yard signs when you spend $75 or more. Ends 10/31. Exclusions apply. Limit 1 per customer. See store or visit staples.com/signage for details. For more traffic information, log on to sigalert.com. Jim Bachman with your Philadelphia area traffic.
You're listening to Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, independent black media.
Welcome back to the Power Hour with the Reverend Dr. Mark Kelly Tyler and Dwayne David Royster. We have been having a spirited conversation this morning about the death of Ruth Bader Ginsburg, the plan to replace her, the ongoing challenge of black power, and really for us to be able to use the black power that we have in terms of voting and not just voting. Because let me just say this, folks, it's not just about voting. It's about voting and then engaging in the democratic process, which means talking to your state reps, your congressional leaders, your senators, your governor, the president, whomever, and actually being an active participant in society. We can't do the passive aggressive thing and vote and then get mad when people don't do what we want them to do. You are the boss. I want you to say that to yourself. Point to yourself and say, I am the boss.
I'm the boss.
All these politicians, there you go. All these politicians work for me. I don't work for them. They work for me. They do what I tell them to do. You are the boss. And so own your power and know that you are the boss. I know there are political leaders out there right now that are very upset that I just said that. However, you are the boss. And you need to let them know that periodically.
Hey, how is it going to change? You just made me think of something. This is totally an aside. How's it going to change when we get back into in-person worship in churches and folks start talking about touch your neighbor?
They're not going to touch him.
I hate that, by the way, so I'm glad it's done. There's a wrap on that. No more tell your neighbor. Nope. Keep your mask on. Tell yourself in your mind.
Are we going to pass the peace? That's what I want to do.
No.
I don't want to pass the germs.
And just so I'm not, speaking out of turn again, I think, like I said again, Clinton got 89% of the black vote in 2016. Trump got 8%. So not sure where the rest of that went, maybe Jill Stein or wherever, but maybe they wrote Killer Mike or Kanye, and I'm not sure. But, again, so
I like Killer Mike personally, so I just want to say that. I wouldn't vote, but I like Killer Mike.
I didn't say I didn't like it. I just said maybe they wrote his name in. You see, you're reading stuff into what I'm saying today, bro. Putting words in my mouth, man. Glad to see Sheila Booker out there as well on this morning. And listen, we got Will Mega on from West Philly. Will Mega, good morning. Welcome back to the show.
My bad, I had to take the phone out my back pocket. Brother, this has me returning back to one of our previous conversations of what are we getting for our vote. You gave the data about how loyal the black vote is, how consistent the black vote is. You claim that we are the bosses. If we're the bosses, what are we getting? What are we getting? And please don't tell me we're getting Donald Trump out.
All right, let me give you a good example. You asked the question.
Anyone we vote for, the other person is going to come out. We already know that. But what are we going to get? And then I'll leave you real quick with this one. Please, oh God, please. If you're telling me that we're the boss, right, because of our vote, why is it that politicians dance to the tune who writes the check? I'll be back. I'll be waiting.
Yeah. All right, let me know. You go first and let me go. I'm going to go.
Yes.
I'm going to
go. I'll let you take the second part of that.
Okay.
All right, Will. So I can't speak to what anyone else does with the majority of their free time. I'll only speak for myself and in the organization that I work with, that Bishop Royster and I work with. We work with Power, which is involved in multiple fronts. Education funding for public schools across the state. We started in Philadelphia first. Raising wages for workers at the airport and across the city, And now around, climate justice and addressing climate racism and now working around issues of our Live Free campaign, police accountability, ending mass incarceration, trying to find a solution to gun violence intervention. So I will say this. I can't speak for what other people do, other organizers, other clergy, whatever, but I know this, that I can get almost every person in council when I want them right back on the phone. And that's not because of me. That is because of the organizing that we do. So what Bishop Royster just laid out is absolutely right, that it is about knowing your local representatives. I can say the same thing about our state reps and on the federal level as well, that if we want to reach them, we can. You know why? Because they respond to us because they know that A, we organize, B, we vote, C, we're educated on the issues, and D, we know what they can do a lot of times before they know what to do. We have held, for example, so Curtis Jones, shout out to him. He took one of the demands that Power had last year. If you remember, we had an event with Malcolm Jenkins, Malcolm came. In December, we called for several policing reforms that are now being legislation or have already passed. That was our own work that they picked up in the wake of George Floyd, right? And when Curtis Jones passed it, we're like, well, what are you going to do with it? Well, we're going to figure that out later. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to do a series of town halls. The next one, by the way, is this Wednesday at 7. We've done 5 to date. Through the summer, the hard times when folk are out at the beach doing everything else, we're organizing it. We're bringing people in from all these different places through Zoom, virtual town halls. You can see any of them if you missed them. They're all on Power's website, powerinterfaith.org. And we have had city council members come and sit in our town halls at our invitation to learn from Oakland, to learn from San Francisco, New York, all across this country, how people do police oversight in their cities. So it is the hard work of not just electing the right people, but then holding them accountable and making them do your bidding. We don't have money like lobbyists, like you said. We have people power. And so if you don't harness your people power and work this stuff when it is not sexy, when it is not election time, when it's hot outside, when it's cold outside, you got to show up when other folk are not showing up. And that is how you move things. So again, I can't speak for other folk, and I don't know who you're talking about because it's not me and it's not the group that I work with, because we are doing exactly what you just said.
Yeah. So going to your second point.
I'm done. I'm going to let you know.
Well, I mean, you actually answered the question for the second one, too. It's like, you know, Will, when you throw out there the fact that the politicians respond to those that write the checks, well, one of the things that we have to understand is that the people that write the checks are in their faces all the time as well. I don't know if Dr. Tyler remembers this, but back when we were doing the early part of the airport campaign, we were literally going into council offices, and as we were leaving with a group of us, as we were leaving the council offices, the lobbyist for the American Airlines was following right behind us, every council office we went to, and we were going back and forth and tracking each other down, right? The challenge is that whoever makes the most noise and makes the most demands is ultimately going to do. We have beat organizations that have spent hundreds of thousands of dollars trying to fight us and defy us, because we organized people and got it out there. This is the challenge that we have. It's not just about voting. And I think we have sold ourselves a lie that if all we have to do is get out and vote, and then we're going to get it the way that we want. No, we have to go out and vote in the direction that we want, and then we have to make politicians do what we want them to do. And the reality is that the business community and people with money, they know that they can write big checks. But we believe in this thing. We believe that we have power because we have organized people and we have organized money to be able to do the resourcing work that we need to do to get in there. And that's not writing PAC checks, but it is making sure that people, that the political leaders are inundated with the power of the people on a regular and consistent basis, that we are telling them what we want, that we're doing it publicly, that we're doing it in large numbers, and that we're holding them accountable for the oath of office that they took at whatever level of government that it is, and that we're moving in such a way that oftentimes we have a preponderance of people in certain districts across the city that it makes a difference whether our folk are satisfied or not, whether some people get to keep their jobs. Not that we're partisan, but we have enough folk that if they do their math, they can count. and saying to themselves, I won by this number of votes and they have this many people in my district, I need to think differently about that. That's what it takes to be able to overcome folk that are just writing checks and getting what they want. And it becomes harder the higher the level of government that you go to. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. But the reality is that we can do that and we can make that difference. No politician is perfect. And I speak that as a former politician. I'm somebody that's been in elected office. I've run 3 different campaigns. I've been elected to office once, served as a councilman in Norristown, Pennsylvania. No politician is perfect. If you want politicians to do something, you've got to move them to do it, and you've got to show that you have the power to make them do their jobs.
And
okay.
so
No,
stay on it. So I'll simply add this, because I know we're getting toward the end of the show, that our mantra is, and it's not ours, we didn't create it, it comes out of the organizing movement, is no permanent friends, only permanent interests. So I am a registered Democrat. I have no problem with that, and I support the Democratic Party. But when it comes to the things that we're passionate about, in city council, it's almost all Democrats. They're almost all people politically that I agree with. So what am I supposed to do? And that was the thing. That was the mistake when we first started organizing. They thought that we were just some nice little clergy group that comes around that's going to pray for them at their prayer breakfast. And I'm going to tell you, some of the folk, I won't even call the names of the positions because I don't want to, create that kind of, animosity this early in the morning. But let's just say we showed up in their offices and met with them and started pushing them on the airport, for example, and the fact that they could pay more. And when they made insane arguments that if we pay the workers a total of $12 million a year more, that U.S. Air at the time, now American, would take their entire hub operation from big old Philadelphia and move it to Pittsburgh. And we had to look at them like, are you out of your mind? Y'all don't ask for enough. You don't know to ask for enough. So we had to go hard against people we helped elect. Mm-hmm. And Absolutely. So it doesn't matter. So listen, it's about the interest. And if with interest is caring for the least of these, I often say that we are lobbyists for the people. We're lobbyists for people who are people like my mother when I was growing up as a single mom, couldn't get off work and go lobby because she was taking care of 4 kids and had to keep a roof over her head. We're lobbyists for people who are working 3 jobs, lobbyists for essential workers. That is our job, and it is not something that you do on election day only. It is the hard work and all of the endless meetings that people never see, and the tons of Zoom calls in the last 6 months that folk don't see. So Will, I appreciate your question because I think it does open up to the fact that we have got to adopt as Black folk a different organizing structure, one that works on the city level, one on the state level, and one on the federal level, and have nuance in what we do. And I rest my case.
So I'm posting in the feed on Facebook. Folk can just check this out, an article that from Think Progress that we were quoted in some time ago, it talks about the fact that we are not the nice faith people. So no, we don't do your benedictions and your invocations and sit there.
We will, but we'll talk about you first.
Yes, we're gonna call you out for your stuff, and then we'll pray. And actually, I did a prayer some years ago before city council. Former city councilman Wilson Good invited me to do the morning prayer, and I think they regretted that afterwards, that they invited me to do that. But anyway, well, look, we are up at the end of the show, and deeply appreciate each and every one of you that's been listening. I just want to shout out the Reverend Dr. Audrey Price, who is checking us out from Maryland. She is the Associate Conference Minister for the Central Atlantic Conference of the United Church of Christ, who has been commenting on here with us this morning.
That means, wait, that means she's like a UCC bishop.
Yes, she is. That's exactly right.
All right, Bishop Audrey. Thank you.
So she is out there, and then Donna Monroe is a member of my congregation down in D.C. So good morning to you both. Good morning, Sheriff Bilal, and the Reverend Dr. Quentin Robertson is checking us out this morning from the United Lutheran Seminary, my alma mater. So appreciate seeing you out there as well. To all the many of you that have checked us out today, we got to get ready to go. Solomon Jones is coming up next. Check us out tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. We'll be back here with the Power Hour. Don't forget to share this feed on your Facebook page so that we can help other people get informed about the issues from a power perspective. God bless you. We'll catch you real soon. See you tomorrow.
Deuces.
Weight on my shoulders, a bullet in my gun. Oh, I got eyes in the back of my head, just in case I have to run. I do what I can when I can. can for my people. While the clouds roll back and the stars fill the night, that's when I'm gonna stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home, far across the...
I'm Joe Biden, candidate for president, and I approve this message.
But they've got the experience.
I'm still in shock 3 or 4 years later that we're in this position.